Greetings, 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 greetings. I want to welcome you to a brand new podcast. Dr. G presents Open Circle Gathering, where we will delve into life's mysteries to achieve life mastery. Today, I will be joined with my co-host, Brother Amenaru Gebra Bey, and later on we'll be joined by my daughter, Maisha. I'm glad you have taken the time to tune in to see what this is all about. And this is something right up my alley. I'm excited to be able to do this and to talk about some of the things that really where my heart is and where I'm interested in. So we're going to be getting right into our broadcast, and it's about the power and magic of sigils and used in manifestation. So we're going to get into that in just a few. I'm going to bring my co-host on. And I'm so excited about him being a part of this. You guys, you just don't know. Yeah. I'm trying to get my music to stop, y'all, but it just wants to play. So we're just going to turn it down a little bit. My music just wants to play. We're just gonna come right in. How you doing? My music.
You just want to be a DJ. That's all.
Wants to play. Normally we rock a little bit and so forth, but
right.
Listen, I am so happy that we're doing this. And the universe has put us together. As you see, the last time we were just building and so forth, chopping it up together. I was so hot, if you remember.
Mm-hmm.
And I decided to film my part of this at the beach.
Okay. Didn't tell nobody you was going, but that's okay.
I'm at the beach, y'all, sort of, kind of.
Right.
I'm at the beach so that I could just chill out and so forth and so on. But really, I'm really in my hot office, but it feels like the beach. It's something about the power of illusion.
Yes. Yes.
The power of illusion. I want to say this. I want to say this to those that are tuned in. This podcast is more specifically dealing and delving into the metaphysical aspect of life. A lot of things that we have pushed to the side because of upbringing and taboo and religious, just different things that have stopped people from actually delving into metaphysical subjects. And like I said to you last time we spoke, there are so many people who think that they're crazy because they have these what they call them paranormal experiences, but they're not really paranormal. I think they're normal and we're more abnormal because we kind of suppress our natural tendencies to be psychic, so to speak, clairvoyant, clairaudient, all those different gifts. And especially if we grow up in any kind of a religious background. So we don't have we feel like the best way to stay, on the right side of family and friends and church communities and so forth is just to, suppress our real interests. And so this show is one that you don't have to do that. We are going to be talking about things as the time goes on that we hope that will touch on some of what each of you is interested in or have had experience with, or maybe even even questioning whether or not, the reality of whether that's real or not. And so the universe was so gracious as to connect me with an awesome co-host, and we have a lot of similarities. He is an awesome artist. He is an accomplished artist. I am an accomplished purchaser of art supplies. he paints, and I dream about painting. You know what I mean?
Right.
You were a DJ, a radio DJ, and I was a club DJ way
Right.
back in the
Right.
both have interest in metaphysical subjects, and we've had experiences and so forth. So to give that perfect balance of yin and yang and masculine and feminine energy, we're going to be able to give both sides of it, if you will, perspectives, and we'll be bringing others on. As today, I'm excited because my daughter, some of you all who have followed House of Reawakening Minds have heard her sing the opening song, Reawakening Minds, for the last couple of years. And it's actually something that she did for me and put on the phone. And we're trying to get her in the studio so she can actually record it, but we've been playing that phone version of it. She is going to be joining us in maybe about maybe 20 minutes or so. She's going to be joining us in this discussion because she is an awesome person, and I'll talk about her when we bring her on. But we were talking about manifestation.
Yes.
We were talking about manifestation, and one of the things that you do and use, and I guess I don't want to get really deep in it. Let's forget about that right now. I want to talk a little bit about you and your background, because you have a very varied and expansive background. Talk a little bit about you and what you do before we get in, because I want to bring Maisha in when we start to talk about the sigils and stuff and all that, because she's in, she does that too. So we'll leave her out.
Okay. Peace. Thanks for having me on here. So first, my name is Amenaru Gebra Bey, and basically that's the high name that I chose that represents my birth name, because when you reach a certain level in life of knowledge and spiritual attainment, you are given a high name. Now, it's important to have that high name represent your birth name, because your birth name represents the energy that follows you throughout life. So my journey started when I didn't understand anything. When I was about 7 years old, I used to sleep in my older sister's bed because I was always afraid to sleep by myself. And during that time, I would always have like dreams, visions of things I didn't understand. Which now I'm adult, I understand. So it all started with visions. You know how people say they move into houses and houses are haunted, which now I know that houses just holding energy, and I'm gonna validate that here in just a second. So depending on the energy that is in a particular area, let's say a house, depends on the strong magnetic energy that lingers behind. Okay, so growing up, I felt these energies, these magnetic forces that was in the house. So I would see things in my dreams. I would see things when I was awake, like I guess you can call them like spiritual entities, but they didn't have any bodily form, if that makes sense. Um, and I used to scare my sister all the time with this. She was like, "Boy, shut up, go to bed. I don't want to hear about it." But I'd be like, "There's a shadow appearing on the door. I don't want to hear about it." So I used to scare her with it all the time. But growing up, not only did I have spiritual experiences, but I always expressed my inner intelligence through art. So I did that, and I was always a seeker of knowledge. And whenever you're a seeker of knowledge, you obtain new skills in life. Okay, it makes you more valuable to yourself and to other people if you can motivate them and help uplift them. Fast forward, I got into the Masonic order just so I can get knowledge. I was craving knowledge. I wanted to know more about life and some of the mysteries. Well, when I got into the Masonic order, you learn the rituals and everything like that, but you don't get the meaning and the history behind it. So I kind of journeyed away from that, and I met up. I'm fast forwarding it just to shorten it down. I met up with a brother from he was a Moor, He was a ex-pastor. He was in the Islamic faith, and ultimately he returned back to the Kemetic understanding of everything. And he introduced me to a teacher. His name is Dr. Akawea Nakobe Taraka Bey. He's one of the Swift Angels of the Moorish Consulate. Many people know who he is. And then when I met him, he not only taught me like Islam, but he taught me the Kemetic understanding of the original birth of Islam. Hence, I'm a Kemetic Moor. But and then that's when, everything started, all my questions start being answered, because nobody could explain to me what I was experiencing. And then I was introduced by the same Moorish brother to Phil Valentine and Brother Panic. And they opened my mind to the abstract and to the metaphysics and to the occult, where I can now interpret my own experiences. Because one thing that, like for instance, Brother Panic, he teaches that, your experiences are your own. It's like, don't tell me what you read from a book. Tell me what you experienced. You get what I'm saying? So now back to that energy lingering around in houses. So my journey of knowledge came from me. I sat in front of the window, in front of the sun every morning, and I meditated just like this, and I prayed for the higher power to give me the truth, teach me the truth. I did that every day at the same time, every day at the same time, and I asked just for one thing: teach me the truth. And of course, I made a promise back. If you teach me the truth, then I'll go out and teach others, or I'll go out and inform others of what you give me. That's when the dreams and everything started. Like I had a dream about Mithra. I didn't even know who Mithra was, but he came to me in my dream dressed in Persian garb, and he showed me everything that now I understand from listening to Phil Valentine and Brother Panic. Now I understand who Mithra is and what that represents. Because Mithra was like a Christ, which is the truth bringer. So I don't know. Maybe I was Persian at one given time. But back to my point, that same spot I pray every day to. Don't you know when people come over here, they look into that spot and they're like, I feel something right there. I feel something right there. And they point to the same spot where I put all that energy into. So that makes me believe that if you're in a house and you're feeling like entities and energies, that is a lingering of the previous that stayed there, especially if they were going through some kind of suffering or something like that. So what we call hauntings is nothing more than a lingering of that electromagnetic field. And if you're receptive to it, like Caroline and Poltergeist, you will connect with that and you will be able to interpret that. So, and then people look at you like you're crazy. Like, what are you talking about? I don't see no shadow on the wall. Because they're not open to it. See,
Right,
you
right.
open yourself. You open yourself to these energies when you look within inside self to try to understand, the abstract that most people can't tell you. Church couldn't tell me. Church was bad. Oh, you just better pray to Jesus. Oh, those are them demons coming out. I'm like, really? I'm not hurt. I mean, they didn't like slam me against the wall and say, "Give me your soul." So what are you talking about? It's just
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah. So you went from seeking, from having an inclination as a young child to then
Hmm.
recognize to the point that you then actively begin to seek the knowledge of the truth of, say, your
Right,
existence, your beingness, right?
right.
And that led to various teachers. Like I said, they come when you're ready,
Hmm.
and so various teachers. I'm just going back on what you said, who came into your life, and then you begin to develop your own mastery.
Yeah,
Somewhere along the line, though, I know you, even though to me painting is more abstract, because our mind, even though I can't paint, but I want to paint, I have a mind of a painter. That's why we connect.
mm,
And the metaphysics is more abstract, and it's subjective. But you also went into the field of medicine, in Western medicine, and you
yeah,
actually are
Right. Yeah. So I work in the emergency medical field, where I've been doing that for 11 years, and I'm also an instructor, and a trainer. So when I got to the medical field, that also led me to other masters out there, like Dr. Lila Africa, peace be upon him, and Dr. Jewel Pookrum. And once I start reading their materials, as a matter of fact, I have a few of Dr. Lila books over here. Actually, I have a lot of his books over here. So he reprogrammed my mind from the Western medicine to the Eastern medicine, the African understanding of what medicine is, what melanin is, how it works in our bodies. And that further helped me understand the occult side of that inner intelligence that we have, because your whole body is just a composition of many different types of intelligence. So once he did that, I was able to better understand my patients, whether it be psychological, physiological, or what have you. Every time they come to me with a sickness or a mental illness, I look at the metaphysics of it, and I'm like, I see what's going on with you. Oh, you're bipolar. Okay, so you're lacking serotonin. You get what I'm saying? So you
So
have
now
a
you,
low level of serotonin.
yeah, so you now know what the how you could treat them in your profession. It has to be more Western, but
Right,
if they were a client of
right,
yours outside, it would be more holistic. I would assume the
right.
approach.
Right. Now, I can't tell a patient, oh, you're lacking serotonin because you're bipolar, because this is the metaphysics stuff. I can't tell them that because Western medicine doesn't allow you to get into that kind of metaphysics and spirituality about the biological chemical makeup of the body. But I have to think it to myself. So now that I know what's going on with this person, there are certain words or power within the words I could say to that person legally that would kind of help that person understand or help that person come into grips of what they need to do, because sometimes it might be a nutrition thing with them. They might be lacking nutrition. Maybe they have vices and like smoking or something, or because in the end we are responsible for our bodies. No doctor, no nurse, whatever, we are responsible. If we're not proactive with our health, then you know that would destroy our body, which ultimately destroys our intelligence. Because each organ, your body, your brain, everything is built off intelligence and an agreement. And if you put bad chemicals, because everything you put in your body turns into a chemical. If you put bad chemicals in your body, then you're going to destroy your temple.
Right,
Okay, and your
right.
temple's no longer a holy place.
You're right.
So,
Well,
but yeah,
yeah.
I've had many journeys.
Yeah, so and like I said, we're perfect match to do this because of the background and so forth. I also want to say to those who are on, I see there about 54 people, looks like, on one and 6 on the other, I believe, watching. If you could hit that like, please give us a thumbs up, like, share this, because what's going to be said today, I assure you, we're just doing some preliminaries right now, but I assure you that you're going to hear something that's going to resonate with you or somebody and you want to share this. So don't not share this. If they choose not to click over, then fine, but don't you not. If you're a regular viewer of Office Hours with Dr. G or House of Real Awakening Minds Friday broadcast, then just know that this is just another offering that we have in, I hate to say it, but it's another offering in the Office Hours with Dr. G, or the Dr. G, not Office Hours, the Dr. G brand. So if you, trust what I brought to you in the past, then trust that we're going to make sure that this open circle gathering is going to be beneficial. And let me just say a little bit about that before I bring Maisha in. Open circle, when Grand Sheik had to teach me and instruct me, Grand Sheik Tashriq Bey, that as a trained, doctorate degreed theologian, so to speak, I didn't know anything about the original name of church being circle.
Hmm.
It's a circle and and gathering. So when I was inspired to name this, I was inspired to do this. I was inspired to name this or give or give it this appellation or description of an open circle gathering. So a lot of folks are sitting home and are either don't go to church any longer because of their awakening or enlightened state, never went at all, or because of the virus they they were home long enough to get unmesmerized to the fact that they had to go week after week, or Wednesday and Sunday and Friday. So people are now saying, hey, I didn't go, I didn't tithe, and I didn't die. Just like, you know, they tell you that if you were seeing spirits and so forth, that, oh, that's of the devil, I mean, so yeah. So we want to make sure, please share. Peace and love to you. When you're coming in, give us a thumbs up and share this. If you're on Facebook or if you're on YouTube, please share, because there's going to be a lot said, and this is just our first show. So with that said, I want to bring, like I said, I've been talking about, my daughter, and she's my daughter from another mother, but I've known her since she was a teenager. And initially I didn't know until, years later, how much of an impact that I had on her life when we met in the church. She was a teenager. She was not there with her parents, but she was there as a teenager who was seeking and searching truth herself, and didn't realize until later on that she was, very gifted, such as yourself, with a lot of, but she had a lot of experiences and so forth. And when I asked her in 2015, I said, I need a theme song for House of Reawakening Minds. And we weren't even doing anything like social media, but I felt like I needed a song. And I think it was in a day or so. I was probably down in the ATL where she domiciles. I was probably down there visiting her. And when I got back home, she had a song for me. She sang it. She had it over sent it to me as a text message, a song. And I had been like, since, I don't know, 2015, trying to get her to get in the studio to record it. Cause she is not only, is she able to write and sing. I mean, she's done some major songwriting and productions, then you get, things, family and motherhood and gets in the way, but I think she's coming back. She's really coming back into her own now, but she's an accomplished singer songwriter, probably that has done some producing and so forth, as well as, she's now an acceptance coach, and she has a book coming up. I think it's going to be called The Lotus Bloom. It's basically what she did. So she's launching a new mentor program called the Blooming Lotus Self-Acceptance Program, which focuses on helping people accept those aspects of themselves that they tend to reject and heal using shadow work. I posted something. I said, I am not afraid of my my shadow self or the shadow government. I made a meme like that. She practices divination. She uses oracle and tarot and pendulum magic. She also uses candles and herbs for manifestation and spiritual cleansing and spell work. She also does mediumship to assist in connecting the ancestors and guides or the higher self. And matter of fact, I'm holding here. Matter of fact, a few months ago, I have this. It's kind of hard to show up because I got this green screen.
I was like, how you get the beach in a bottle?
The beach is in the bottle, right? She's laughing. But this is a bottle of awesome oil that she made for Mama. And you can't really put the beach is in the bottle. But I've used, you see how much I've used. I want to bring on my daughter. I'm calling my daughter Maisha. Welcome.
Hi, how are you?
Peace.
Peace. Welcome to finally getting you on here. Now I'm really on the beach because I'm on the beach big and y'all over there. But the wonderful thing about this is
rub it in.
Yeah, the wonderful thing about this is I just learned how to do solo. So what it means is when each of us talk, all I can do is bring you to the forefront and take a back seat. So thank you so much. I'm gonna bring you up into a solo spot for a minute and let you say hello to the viewers and tell us a little bit besides what I said about you, what you do, and we're going to be talking, all of us, about manifestation. And you're also familiar with the sigils that Brother Amenaru was, and I actually have a book on that too, called The Sigils of Power and Transformation. But you all actually use them. So tell us a little bit about you and what you do and your experience, as a child. Can we do the same thing with you?
Yeah, that's fine. It's funny because some of the things that he actually stated, I went through myself. I'm personally, I'm what they call an indigo or veil child, call child, whatever they want to call, when you're born completely within your amniotic sac. And I was birthed that way. So from birth, I've always been looked at and viewed from this perspective where, oh, she's special. She walks in the supernatural and the natural. So when I was younger, and I used to tell my mom that there's a person sitting in front of me that looks like this, and they're telling me that such and such is sick, and such is pregnant, and such is dead, and such is this. They used to tell me to be quiet because they're like, oh, that's just a demon. Oh, don't say anything. And I would always say it. And I would literally sit and play with spirits all day long as a child. And it freaked my family out. They used to get terrified. They used to be like, she's weird. Somebody needs to take her to church. She needs to go get baptized, everything. But they knew as a child that I had those abilities. It's funny because my birth date is actually October 10th. So when you're looking at numerology, I walk in the natural and the supernatural anyway. And I was born on that specific date. So growing up, seeing these energies, not really understanding what it was. My grandfather was the first one that actually introduced me into understanding magic. And at first it was this folklore book that he gave me, but he made me sit down and understand what it is that I was actually experiencing. And it was about fairies and nymphs and different sigils and different magic from different cultures and things like that. And my mom was upset that he gave me that book, but it wasn't, I didn't realize how much of an important role it would play into my future. So fast forward, didn't grow up in the best household. My parents always provided for me financially, but emotionally, it was a very unstable home. So I turned to church because that was always the go to church. And I met Dr. G when I was about 15 years old. And for some reason, I was very drawn to her. I was very drawn to her as a child and didn't realize how much of a connection I would have with her. And just being in her presence helped me to actually further walk into my truth, to accept those aspects of myself. And I still struggle with them throughout the years, where I could see a spirit in front of my face, like literally yelling at me, like in my face, full form in my face. And I would try to ignore it because I was always told, don't entertain it. Fast forward, I had the ability to send it on its way. A lot of times, a lot of energies, they dwell because they don't know how to transition. And I want to thank some of the most important people in my life. For instance, Empress Onika Long, she of the Macabre House, she was amazing. For the last 6 years, she and I have been friends, and she has been so instrumental in helping me accept and walk into my gifts and owning that. If I had not decided to let that come into my life, I wouldn't know where I would be at. I did allow a lot of my gifts to become dormant. So just allowing them to resurface gradually so that I am not taken by surprise, because even with the gift of mediumship, sometimes it can be overwhelming. I have to always make sure I'm protected. Even when I go outside, there's so much energy outside and it's absorbed, and sometimes it'll throw my frequency off and I have to come in the house and take a spiritual bath just to clear it off of me. I keep selenite in my car because I have to rub it on myself every 5 minutes.
Yes.
I have a wand that I sit in my car and I just go like this as soon as I get back in my car. Even listening to the radio, I can't listen to the radio in the car because the frequencies, it just, everything's just transmitted on such a higher level now. Because I'm aware of it. And when you're in tune with spirit and you're in tune with self, it's like everything is magnified, and it makes you so cautious on how
vulnerable
you
to
in life. It's like, okay, let me make sure that I'm walking the way I need to walk, and I'm listening for spirit to give me guidance, and I'm listening for intuition and how I'm approaching certain situations. But that's enough of that. So let me get back into, talking about just like I said, a lot of similarities, dealing with a lot of the shadow work. And I just want to kind of piggyback on something that you said, understanding how Eastern medicine, African medicine, ancient Asiatic medicine, all of those play such an important role into our overall wellness, because certain herbs, certain mindsets that we have, they attribute to our conditions being what they are. And part of the work that I do as a self-acceptance coach is when you can't accept those aspects of yourself, that shadow self then
Hmm.
you cause yourself to become ill mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. For instance, it's funny, I'm a my shadow side is Virgo, so I know my counter is Pisces. So my north node
She's
is
laughing.
You know why I'm
oh,
laughing, Maisha? Listen, because
Yeah.
I'm a Pisces and he's a Virgo.
oh no. So wait a minute,
Uh,
Virgo. Do you struggle like I do as having a Virgo in your north node? Do you struggle like I do with trying to balance, like just understanding that certain things are artistic versus being analytical? Because that's my struggle.
well,
I struggle with
that's
that.
yeah. Well, that's where you got to get into mastery of self.
I
Because me and
know.
yeah,
I know. I'm still there. I'm mastering it, but the Virgo side is very dominant. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah.
I am very very Virgo dominant when it comes to that aspect of my North Node. But it's important that we even understand those aspects of ourselves. Like I know for a fact that my Lilith is a Virgo, so I have to
Hmm.
understand that with my Lilith being in Virgo, that's my shadow side. I'm very submissive and I'm self-sacrificing, and I self-sacrifice for other people's sake, and that's not good for me or my higher self or my purpose in life, because I put myself on the back burner. And understanding that aspect of yourself, you accept it, and you also look to see what things you need to change in order for you to fulfill your purpose in life, or
Hmm.
to help elevate you where you need to be spiritually, so that you can help the next person.
Right.
Without people understanding those things, and I know a lot of people aren't really into astrology, but those things matter. It all plays a part in the greater unknowing, should I say.
Right. Right.
Well, that's amazing. That's awesome. And I know you were just, you touch lightly on the things, but I mean, you've done and you do some amazing things, and you work with a sisterhood, so to speak. I'm calling it a sisterhood.
Yeah, it
In
is
the
a sisterhood. I love those
in,
girls. I
in
love
the
those
ATL
women. They're
area, yes.
amazing. They are amazing. One of my sisters, she is, wow, she's so phenomenal. Her name is Cabela Rose. Look her up if you
Been
ever,
trying
ever,
to get her
ever.
on. Look, we've been
I'm gonna
scheduling and
I
rescheduling to
promise
get
you,
her on.
I'm waiting for her to respond to a text message I sent her this morning. But I told her, I said, just, it was funny. She and I talked on the phone one day, and I said, it's something weird going on in your house. And she was like, yeah, it's like, it feels like it's something in here. So I started to channel for her, and I channeled this energy of a past love that was addicted to her, that has been following her so he can come back in her life. And it was so interesting because she received a phone call from her priest that lives in another country, and he confirmed everything I said to her. And she was just like, I am so freaked out, because you were like literally hitting on the nail. You told me exactly what time frame you felt like he was from. You told me exactly what it was that he wanted. And I was like, he doesn't mean you any harm, but he has a deep love for you, and he's trying to come back into your life. And when I felt him, it was just like an intense, overwhelming love for her. And it was almost obsessive. And I just told her, he has to learn how to back down a little bit. I said, he doesn't want to be removed because he's there to
Hmm.
protect you, but he needs to back down because he's also blocking you. So it
But
was funny when this priest came in and kind of confirmed everything that I had told her. And she was like, oh my God. She called me screaming like, Maisha, oh my God. I'm like, yeah, I felt that. I felt all of
but
his energy.
that's interesting because it's not just energies of those who have transitioned, right?
Mhm.
Hmm.
But I'm an hour that, but energy. Period. I mean, you can project so strongly, I guess, your feelings, and be it love or disdain
Yeah.
for
Hmm.
and towards someone. Because we talked about that last night. Remember when you told me about how if you begin to speak some things out. And how somebody can counteract that if they have ill will towards you, or
Mhm.
Yes.
we spoke about that last night.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, when you're trying to manifest something, whether it be through sigil work or whether it be through just symbolism like candles or whatnot, you have to be careful that to the magician. And I'm just using magician because everybody likes Disney, whatever. So to the magician, the magician never gives up his secrets for a reason, because
Right.
those who find out what the magician's secrets are, they can not only try to duplicate that, but they can mess it up. So basically, there are four laws to manifesting what you want. So the first one is to know. The second one is to dare. The third one is to will it, And the fifth or the fourth is to keep silent. So whenever you're manifesting, doing candle work, whatever you do at your altar, whatever
Mhm.
sigil you make, you do not share that with anyone, because just the mere thought of someone counterreacting or hating on you can disrupt that manifestation. And
Exactly.
I was listening to the sister here, Maisha, speak, and she's telling the truth. You know, when you open yourself up to these energies, you become vulnerable. And that's why practicing magic or any occult science is dangerous. That's
Right.
why, you know, some of our prophets in the past have died from strokes, because it's an overload of frequency on the brain. So you have to master yourself to know how to, like in Tai Chi, you know, because I took martial arts too. In Tai Chi, you know, we use the energy, so we flow with the energy, not flow against it. In Aikido, you take the energy and you deflect it. So it's the same thing with the medium or the clairvoyant. You got to be able to flow with the energy, and you got to be able to deflect it.
Yep.
So the thing is, growing up, like she said, growing up, you know, you don't understand these things or how to control it. They just come to you. So you know, and I can tell she, because I feel people's energies, no matter if they're around me or they in distance, and I felt her energy when she was speaking, and she's telling the complete truth, because I can feel the amplitude of her energy and the sincerity in her face when she mentions the things that she mentioned, and I can feel that from experience. But back to your question, you know, this is why, you know, a lot of us fail in life, because everybody, I don't care who you are practicing some form of magic that you are unaware of. I don't care if you practice if you go to birthday parties, that's a ritual. Lighting
It is.
candles of
It is.
magic.
That is amazing that you said
Right.
that. I had to have that conversation with someone else before. Like, you do realize that putting a candle on a birthday cake is magic.
Right. If you celebrate your birthday, like the sister said, you are practicing astrology. Okay. If you say, "Oh, I'm a Virgo, I'm this and that," you are practicing the
Practicing
magic
astrology.
of the
Yep.
planets. Okay. So, you know, first you have to know, because you have to have the right knowledge and understanding before you try to move a substance or a thought. And then you have to take a dare, like the sister said, you know, oh, stay away from them, I'm a demons, whatever. Well, you have to take a dare. Like Brother Panic said, you have to go into the dark side. You can't be scared. You have to dare yourself to go into that. And
Hmm.
then you have to will it. You know, you have to use your thought to will it. You can't say, oh, I wish I got this. One day I'm gonna get this. You got to say, I have that. I've
Absolutely.
obtained that. I've mastered that. You got to will that, and then you got to keep silent. You know, because if I'm in a store and I'm at the lottery machine, I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna win this lottery. Somebody next to me be like, no, I'm gonna win it. They just kind of reacted you, or what you need
Exactly.
that money for, or no, you know, black people don't need money. You know how some people think. You know, so oh, you're just going to alcohol with it. You know, they counter reacting your positive thinking with
Absolutely.
negative energy. Okay, so but yeah, the sister Maisha, she definitely hit on a lot of good topics, because I know I can tell she reads, because you can tell someone reads by the way they speak. You get what I'm saying? Because when you read books, those books teach you and give you vocabulary to
Absolutely.
expand your intelligence to communicate with people. You get what I'm saying? So I can tell she's intelligent and she reads. But my point is, you can read all the metaphysical occult books on candle magic, whatever, all you want, but how do you make it work for you?
Exactly.
That's
It's
where that's
mentality.
where right.
It's
That's where
mentality. It
sigils.
starts in the mind, and it starts with understanding. Like, sigil work is like, so like, one of the matter of fact, mama, on the oil that I made you in particular, I did money sigils on there. And you can't see it, but I carved it in some of the herbs that I put in there, the sticks that are in there. I carved it on some of the herbs, the candle magic that I did around it, and I empowered it, and I protected it before I even sent it to you. And it's important. I didn't tell you what I was doing, but I did it and I sent it to you. And it
Oh, she's
works.
so
I mean,
silly.
it works. It works magic. It
She,
works wonderfully. It works wonderfully. I think I've given it to
It
people,
smells
and
amazing. It is absolutely, the smell is something I just wanna
and I do that. I literally made it into a mist and I spray it in my car, and Something as simple as like he said, when you understand how sigils and you understand how all these things work, it just it the and you program your mind and your spirits and to accept that this is the blessings that you're due, you receive it. So I received it on your behalf before I sent it to you. It was just for you to also take it and put it into practice. So
Hmm.
I'm completely in agreement with everything you said. Reading is one thing, but it's about the mentality and it's about practicing and it's about
Hmm.
having the actual quote unquote faith to understand it and also keeping it quiet because
Yes.
a lot of times we speak on things, and this is one of the things I used to have a problem with in church. I'm not going to keep going back and praying about something I've already left to God. I'm not going to keep going back and saying, going back and repeating the same spell over something that I've already received as mine. And I put it into the universe. I put it out for the divine to go ahead and open me up to receive it. And I'm going to leave it there because guess what? I'm going to now process my mentality to start thinking like that I already have it. So therefore, manifestation is now that it's here, not that I'm going to have it, that it's here. And that's how things come, literally. I mean, I literally tell people all the time. They be like, "Oh, does your money all work?" "Oh, baby, I can show you my bank account." Yes, it works. It works
Hmm.
because I know I've already called these things into existence. And
Right.
it's about receiving it and not allowing other people to question what it is that you've already put into practice. Because like you said, those negative thoughts, they were encountered. So I literally, I'll take some rue, I'll take some black salt, some Himalayan salt. I will protect every spell that I put out there. But it's
Hmm.
also about what I choose to receive. If my intentions are not 100%, then I can't expect it to be manifested.
Exactly. Exactly. And the thing about what you just said, protecting your spells, that's important. And you got to be, how should I say, a master of your craft and understand the different type of energies that float out there.
Hmm.
So, the point of us getting together, and what I look forward to is try to get our people to tap into that inner intelligence, that inner power, that because all of us got it, and we as a people can obtain so much more in life if we just stop looking so much outside of ourselves and go within. So, back to the sigil, the reason why I say it's okay to learn everybody else's, tips and tricks and stuff as far as magic, but you got to do what works for you.
Hmm.
So that's why, your grandmother, great grandmother, great grandmother, grandmother, our ancestors, if you go back way far back, they have grimoires. And these
Yep.
grimoires are experiences that they came up with that works for them. It's like a cookbook recipe. Like, I'll give you an example. Every planet not only has a number of vibration to it, but it has a planetary symbol, right? So that is the symbol attached to that planet. When you use sigils, you are taking squares that correlate to the number of that planet, and you are putting in numbers like you're playing Sudoku, in the Kamea squares. So if Jupiter is number 4, you have 4 squares going across, you have 4 squares going down in a column, and you put numbers in those that will equal the same number through all sides, up, down, left, right, or whatever. So now what you did was you took Jupiter and made your own symbol of manifestation that you're
Hmm.
using the power of Jupiter to get what you want.
Absolutely.
So yeah, so some people get their zodiac on their arm and stuff. Like, look at this, I'm a Libra. Look. You get what I'm saying? Not
Right.
understanding you can take that same energy of that planet
Yep.
and that zodiac, put it in a Kamea square, and make your own symbol using your zodiac energy to manifest what you want. So now Libra can mean a whole bunch of things, but when you have your own symbol under the Libra energy, you manifest, like, say, hey, I want to get a good husband or something like that. You know what I'm saying? You make your own symbol to do that. You get what
Absolutely.
I'm saying? So, it's important to get into this, and that's why, I give praise to Dr. Phil Valentine and Brother Panic
Hmm.
for opening the door as the pioneers for, people like me and people after me. In the Morris Consulate, we talked about something about children. We are not smarter than children. Children are smarter than us because when they grow up,
Absolutely.
they go no more than us. So that's the same with magic. What we leave as a blueprint to invoke the inner energies in ourselves, they're going to take that to a higher place. Because right now, what's killing us is orthodox.
Yep.
Anything with orthodox attached to it is a ceiling on the mind. Okay, you cannot suppress something that's infinite. You can't take something finite and suppress something that's infinite. You cannot suppress the mind. So I cannot say, hey, you can only light a yellow candle on this day. Oh no, you can't do that. Okay,
Right.
but there still are rules to the rituals. That there are still rules. There's always rules. You can't just
Yeah.
walk around going saying I'm a oogity boogity somebody, because if you put bad intentions on someone, you get that back threefold. That is
Yeah.
the law of karma. That is the law of magic. That's just the main
Reciprocity.
law, right? And you cannot change, because there's some things you can't change. You can't change the energies of the planets in the universe. You can't change that. So you can't say I'm gonna invoke Jupiter with the minds of Mercury, the intentions of Mercury. You can't do that. There's
Right.
some things we can't change. It's like a cookbook. We can only take the ingredients, put it together to work for us. Now, if you can't cook, your food going to be nasty. That's why you got to learn how to cook and how ingredients work. So
Right.
when we learn these ingredients and learn how to cook, then we can use it to manifest whatever we want the way we want it. You understand? Because everything has rules. Everything is an agreement. There's two types of manifestations you can do. You can do it within self, or you can reach out into the ether of the ancestors to do it.
Mhm.
The difference is when you reach out to the ancestors, you're gonna have to make a promise or a trade.
Oh
If
yeah.
not, you're really gonna put some bad intentions on yourself,
Right.
because that's a sacrifice. But when you go within self, such as meditating, now you are invoking the energies in the understanding of how everything works within yourself. You are being self-master, I self-law and master. You are being God, generator, operator, destroyer. Okay?
Exactly.
So, and that's something from Brother Steve Freeman L. taught back in the 90s, whatever. So, our people need to get into understanding, because what's happening is today with the police killings and all that's a metaphysical war
Hmm.
to take us outside of ourselves and put it into something
Exactly.
else. And
Exactly.
that drains us. That drains us. Like the sister mentioned, when she goes outside, she has to wand herself, because those energies she feels drain. Everything's magnetism. If you're not pulling it to you, it's pulling out from you. That's
Hmm.
why when you go out into outer space, they say, oh, the breath leaves your body, because the magnetism is so strong when you go out into outer space, it pulls the essence out of you. You get what I'm saying? So,
Is
she
that when
she touched on
people,
so much.
I'm sorry, is that when people are talking about they've had like near death experiences and they feel like they're being sucked out and then they come back into their body, they're swooped back to being,
That is their lack of understanding of how
Yeah.
energies and matter
Yeah.
work. It's not near death. It's near transcendent.
Exactly.
It's near transcendence.
Right.
Okay, it's near
Exactly.
transcendence. Like for instance, when I meditate, I go into a transcendence.
Yep.
I'll be semi-awake and I'll be semi-sleep. My brain goes into a certain kind of delta, alpha, or whatever wave while I'm still awake. I'm like lethargic almost. So I'm tapping into both the physical
And the
or the
spirit.
lower vibration, and I'm tapping into the higher vibration at the same
Mhm.
time. Okay, so as ancient people, we were able to cross that barrier between physical and spiritual or
Absolutely.
God thinking. And the reason why we can't do that now is because in this world today, we're being suppressed. Phil Valentine calls it the light code lockdown. Yeah, because we're being suppressed. Like, they mentioned that we have junk DNA. Okay, it's not junk DNA. Well, they did find out that it can regulate beta cells or whatever in the pancreas and whatever. But that extra DNA, that those spots are used for upgrading. But we've been shut down from our magical powers. So, and we talked last night about the void moon course.
right,
Okay, the void moon course is important because see, Maisha, the reason why she's so strongly, connected to that vibration, because one, she's a female. Females are more connected to the earth than any male, You know, females are the receptive power. You know, they receive so well, and then they continue on that energy. You know, the I am is I, me, masculine, am the female, the one who puts it into fruition. So that is why throughout the ages, women were known as the mystics, the witches, the Sibyllis. You get what I'm saying? If you're into the Mama Wata or whatever.
I am.
So yeah, so you know, but they know this, and I'm just gonna say they. You know, I ain't gonna get into all that. So they know this,
Oh yeah.
and their main mission is to suppress the feminine energy, the woman's energy, because they know if the woman is conscious of herself and within tune with herself, she also energizes the male principle. Okay, because remember, the male comes forth from the woman because the woman is manifesting a greater energy to protect herself and to sustain her uh, her lifespan. Okay, it's like the coral reef fish. The coral reef fish is all female, but every so often the one female turns into a male, so the generations of the coral reef can continue. That's why in Egypt you see the woman giving the apple of wisdom to the young king. Okay, so everything is for a reason. So when we tap into the feminine energy, or when we show respect to it, then we show respect to the origin of the intelligence manifesting outward. So it's important. They know this, so they suppress the woman because the woman carries the nation in her belly. If you can control the woman's mind and suppress her power or redirect her power to something else, then you can control the whole nation from there.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's why she's so receptive to the energies that's manifested in this physical plane as well as in the spiritual plane. But anyway, not to get off track, but yeah, we have to start invoking our inner self. You know, uh, I mean, I can sit here and tell you books all day. Books will give you a good understanding of the foundation, but it's how you use it to work for you based on those ingredients that you're given. Lashe?
Yeah,
Ashe,
Ashe.
So,
totally in agreement with that because it doesn't even matter. Like you said, you could read a million books. How do you put it into practice? How do you manifest? And it's something. It's funny because you talked about even pretty much setting up the next generation to have an open understanding to
hmm
what it is we're doing. I teach my daughters primarily. My son, he watches, but when I go into meditative states, I make my daughters sit down and do it with me.
right.
Um, because it's imperative that they're in tune with themselves. It's imperative that they have an understanding. I personally have had the transcendence, and I mean, it's crazy when you know that you're able to actually control it. I know people
hmm
that have practiced tell. It was. I can tell you something as simple as yesterday. I told my daughter, I said, "Want to see me do something crazy?" She's like, "What?" I said, "Watch me turn my wheel without using my knees or my wheel or my hands to do anything." So we were driving, and I took my hands off the wheel, and I said, I want it to go to the right." And I shifted my arm to the right without touching the wheel, and the car glid to the right. I told her, I said, "Watch me shift it back to the left." We were driving. I said, "Shift back to the left." I shifted my arm to the left, and the car went to the left. I said, "Now keep straight." And I pulled my arms back, and it kept straight for about half a mile. And she was like, "Mom," I said, "See, this is the thing." I said, "You call those things that you want to happen into practice." I said, "Something as simple as me being able to control this vehicle without my hands should tell you the power that I have inside of me. I need you to tap in and
Hey, you know
understand
what?
that you can manifest
I
that."
did I did the same thing a couple years ago, and guess what? Guess what happened?
What?
That meant I needed a wheel alignment.
Ah, no, I didn't need a wheel alignment. I just got my wheel
I was
alignment.
like, dang. I would go that steering wheel went to the right. I was like, hey, oh no, you know.
No,
So
it's not the wheel alignment. I already had my wheel alignment. But something as simple as, and you said something about a grimoire. I have a grimoire here that I have started for my children. Um,
okay,
to put my spells in, to put the sigils in, to put, certain crystals that I use for manifestation, certain herbs I use for manifestation. And I get them to the point where they have to understand that you're not going to find it. This book is just a guide, but now you got to dig in, you got to dig deep. And
right.
the agenda is for us to look at this and say it's not the way to go, or it's not the most popular belief. It's not what you should do, and it should be chastised instead of celebrated.
Hmm.
But again, that's silencing that feminine energy to understand that that you need to manifest it in order for this world to grow. I mean, I
Right.
look at even like this whole corona situation, like, okay, this is calling for a reset. This is a
Hmm.
reset. And people got to understand Mother Gaia is going to make it happen regardless.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
we got to be in tune. Now it's time to be in tune. So like on Sunday evenings, I take my kids to the river so that we can just sit there and listen, and we'll sit on the rock and we'll sit there and meditate, and we'll just listen for nature to give us guidance on, just to feel the vibration of the water, feel the vibration of the breeze, feel the vibration of the trees, and get the message so that we know how to conduct ourselves throughout the day. And it's we're still human, so we're going to
Right.
be subject to the day-to-days, but it's about tapping in to get that guidance, because we got to understand how to navigate around the negativity. So
Exactly.
it's everything you're saying is just right on point. I'm just sitting here in agreement, like I should be taking notes.
Right. So I want to start getting people to manifest what they want right away. So some things you can do. You can do some simple things like if you see these beads around my neck.
Mhm.
Okay. Now some of them call them rosary or whatever. If you're in Islam, So I'm not going to tell you the orthodox way to use these beads, like what religion tells you, even though religion does teach you how to use beads and rosaries, but it's locked in within that system. So here's something you can do right away. Get you some beads, preferably 99. I mean, if you're in Islam, you probably got the 99 names of Allah, whatever. So what you do is you start like this right here. This is how I manifest things, okay? Because like I said, you have to be a magician within yourself. This right here, I use this to cleanse the negative energies off of me, okay? And then what you do is say, I'll give you an example. Say, say you want to be, I don't know, a mechanic. Okay, you want to get a job as a mechanic. Now you got to understand that everything is operates in cycles. So that means you're gonna have to be patient. You're not going to get it the next day. You're not going to get it the next week. You might not get it the next month. When your cycle, when it's time for your cycle to come around, then your turn will come. But you got to keep manifesting that, and you got to have faith in yourself. That's the only time you use faith is when it's in yourself. So what you do is you start with say, hey, I'm gonna get that job as a mechanic. So you run your hands through the beads like this. So you say, all right, I'm gonna get that job as a mechanic. 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 And you do that. So what you're saying is you're saying I'm going to get no, say I have that. Put it this way, say I have that job as a mechanic. I have that job. I have that. You got already manifested in your mind, and you go all the way around. Okay. So what you're doing is repetition is one how we learn. Repetition is how we program our mind. Because
Mhm.
remember, the most programmable thing on earth is your mind. That's why other people seek to take it over. So then once you manifest that out loud, that you put that vibration out there, then you keep silent because you want to be silent when you're around people. And you just walk around and subconsciously you'll know what you're saying. And you just keep running your fingers through that. Like when you see monks walking around, they got bees in their hand, they're doing that. They're manifesting. They're
Mhm.
praying or they're manifesting. Okay. So that's something you can do right away. And it's worked for me. So that's something non complicated that you can do. Um, I'm a believer in sharing information. So another book I need you to get because, like I said, you got to know the recipe and you got to know the vocabulary of what you're practicing. So this is a book that everybody needs to get. Okay, if you don't have this book, get this book. I'll give you a second to.
Yes.
Do y'all see it?
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, and yep.
All right. You need this book because it's got things like the definitions of like what the metaphysical words are. Okay. Another book you need to get is to get into the comedic understanding of self. Okay, it's this book right here. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of these books come from Bobby Hemmett's library because I watch Bobby Hemmett a lot. for the relationship, those who want to practice magic in their relationships, I mean, far as governing yourself and trying to find like your true partner or soulmate, you got to understand the comedic um, understanding of how man and woman operates and gets along. This book right here, The Science of Love,
Can
okay?
I just say something as it pertains to that? There's a young lady that I do speak with on a consistent basis. She and I actually were just talking about not specifically that book, but we talked about the flow of energy as it pertains to relationships, and we talked about how there has to be a better understanding and understanding how masculine and feminine energy have to flow together.
Mhm.
It doesn't have to be gender specific. A man could be in feminine energy. That doesn't make him effeminate. You have to understand how the flow has to be together in order for it to flow cohesively. Masculine energy cannot be matched with masculine energy. It's going to cause conflict because then there's going to be who's contending against the next versus it being in
Exactly.
flow with feminine and masculine energy, because feminine energy is nurturing, it's lovely, it's bright, where masculine energy may be a little bit more black and white. It might be a little bit more
Mhm.
grayish because it's more neutral, it's more analytical, and there has to
Yeah.
be a balance in order for relationships to flow. So it's funny you brought that book up because we literally just had that conversation
Hmm.
the day before yesterday about that.
Right.
So that's one that I'm definitely writing down to take away with me so that we can speak more phonetically to that.
Right. So it goes back to, you know, Karma Sutra and
Mm-hmm.
those other types of energies, because people got to remember that men have certain percentage of feminine energy in them, and women have a certain percentage of masculine energy in them.
Mm-hmm.
And when the two get together, it forms like a key or puzzle pieces, in other words.
Okay.
But to reach that Kundalini energy, the man and woman, male and female, have to come together on a high enlightened, or what's the word I want to look for? They got to come on the same energy, okay?
Neutrally. Yeah.
Because because you got to understand, you know, from whence you came is where you must go back to gain access to the source.
Mm-hmm.
So as men, you know, we were born from that particular source. So when we have that sexual experience, we got to go back to that source just to help release our kundalini.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So because like I said, women, they hold the intelligence, a mass amount of intelligence in their body, or the Akashic records, because the woman's mitochondria is what holds that intelligence. So it's not only passed down from mother to child, but it's or female to child, but it's also passed through to the male during sexual experience. So when you get into that orgasmic, which is nothing but another form of energy, you
Mm-hmm.
know, magnetism, whatever, then that kundalini energy. That's why when you look at like the snake or whatever, the going up the pole, whatever, that represents a bonding or a binding of the two energies. You know, when you got the double-headed snake going up the pole, whatever. But you know, that's just another form of magic. That's why I said we practice magic every day.
Every day.
Now, however, I told you if you don't know the ingredients or how to put the ingredients together, you're going to get some real bad magic. And far as the subject we're talking about, you have what's called sick sex. Now, Dr. Phil Valentine, in his book, The Wounded Womb, talks about sick sex. And since the woman is the incubator for intelligence, you know, and that intelligence is passed down from the mitochondria to the child, who she lit in her body will forever change her blood type, will change the blood in the essence of her blood. And if a woman gets with a male who doesn't take care of himself, he drinks, he does drugs, he's always mentally depressed, or he's got some psychological issues, the woman's going to absorb that energy, and she's going to absorb and become that, or she's going to pass it down to her children. So, you know, women being a divine temple, they walk around with a divine temple, which is their bodies, must take care of their bodies more so than really the men. Because if you are a temple that produces life, you are most sensitive to vibrational energies and what you put in your body,
Mm-hmm.
because your future generations depend on that. They depend on that. You can birth a whole nation of like disabled children or mentally ill people because your body is, who just laughed? Y'all going to hell. Or you get what I'm saying? Your whole nation is going to be dysfunctional. So that's what they're doing in our society today. They're putting out in the media. They're enticing women with all the commerce things, um, drawing the energy out in themselves, and further, it's going to produce babies in future generations that's not further. They're going to lose their culture. They're going to lose their ability to provoke and use their magic. Everything is hierarchical. And this is why I say we have to get back into the culture and get back into our ways of manifesting from within. If not, we're all doomed. It's not a racial war. It's not a economical war. It's a spiritual war. And where does that start? It starts from within ourselves. If we separate that, if we separate ourselves from the physical superfluities and vices and troubles and look within ourselves, everything else will disappear. You get what I'm saying? And that energy will constantly keep trying to attack you to get your attention. So I think what will fix everything in this nation, honestly, is for the women to get back within their divine self. Because right now the world is overran by masculinity. It's off balance. Okay, so yeah, our women are rising, but they're not rising with the correct understanding of the power of themselves. Because once our women rise with the divine energy and power within themselves, then it'll balance out. Because right now it's just too masculine. It's too much ego, too much war. You get what I'm saying? So, magic is very important right now. It's very important.
Now, let me jump in. So, customarily, our culture centered around what's called magic, but it's not. For us, it was nature, meta nature and all that.
Right.
So while we're saying a lot of times magic, we're using terminology that generally has been placed on what was natural, what was
Right.
connected to source, to Mother Earth, to Gaia, as opposed to it being some kind of thing that you practiced in the corner. It was natural to go to grandma and with an ailment or something, and have her go out into the yard or in the field and look around and pick the right herb and come back and make a poultice or a tincture or some kind of tea or something to heal a situation, or whatever my mom did to fix your situation. You knew to go to them because they knew they had the natural abilities that had not at that point had not been suppressed as they are now. And then we become so dependent upon Western medicines and Western solutions, if you will. And then we have religion, which has further repressed those things because they wanted to take those things and use them in the background
Right.
against us, and to give us a watered down version of something to believe
And
in.
to control it. I mean, to control the narrative too. They want to control the narrative. So
Right.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And so,
So there's two. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, I was, yes, they were asking to that first book that you put in. Was that the encyclopedia?
Yes.
Can you
Yes.
bring it out? Let me bring you up close so they can see. It's the encyclopedic. I'm gonna type it in here. The ENCYCLOPEDI, encyclopedic psychic. I think that's what the person
Yeah.
is there. And it's by June G Blettzerphd. Thank you, got it.
Hmm.
So I put it
You
up.
might can also find that on PDF, but I like physical books because physical books are investments. They're capital.
absolutely.
Yes, yes, yes. So yeah, one of the things that we will be doing, like I said, because I have this green screen, it's kind of hard for me to put some things up. But we were talking about sigils. Then we're going to be talking about, but this is a good book that I recommend. called Sigils of Power and Transformation. And also within it, now it teaches you how to, you can eventually make your own sigils, but it actually, does teach you the dynamics of creating the sigils, and also how to, and I told you I had one that I created for something, and I had it in a place where I knew I would always go, the bathroom. So it was right in front of me, but I think I covered it up with something, and I stopped putting the focused attention on it. And so it really didn't manifest the way, and the reason why I say it didn't manifest the way I wanted it to is because the thing I had it focused on is now past. And I'm pretty sure, that it was, I'll put this back here. I'm pretty sure that it was, because I didn't give it the attention. I did create it. But I just did not, there you go. Yeah, there we all three are. Yeah, I created it.
Sorry, I was tending to the baby.
That's all right. Yeah, no, I like that. We're all in here. I'm down here on the beach, and y'all are over there. Yeah,
it's like that news channel. It's like CNN or whatever. Like, oh, but wait, you are telling me that you don't agree with,
Yeah, now we're guys. Listen, y'all. I am learning how to use my technology as on the fly. Because yesterday, or the day before, yes, maybe Friday, I learned I could do solo. Because somebody said, can't you put it? And then I just figured out how to put us all beside each other. So I don't know how I do it, but hey, there we are. We're not in the little boxes. So I'm learning this, and we're learning this as we go. I hope that you all that are in the viewing and listening audience are enjoying this, or getting, because this is just the beginning. I mean, I'm Maisha and Aminaro. I hope that now I can't do nothing. I can send you some Reiki stuff, and I can do Reiki on you and all of that stuff. And I might be able to give you a word if we're in conversation. But you all read and see and all that stuff. And so sometimes I have guests on the other show, and they're astrologers, and I have a numerologist coming on, Dr. Craig Wright, on office hours, and he's gonna do readings and so forth. And I don't know, Maisha, how does it work with you? That Treasure just walked in the door. My dog. How does that work with you? You want to come on TV? No? Okay. Come here. Yeah, how does that work with you when it comes to that? I'm gonna say, this is Treasure that's always barking in the background, y'all. So this is my 12-year-old Bijan. Look, this is Treasure. I don't want kisses. I don't. Say hi. Okay, so now you can go. Okay, now let's see who Treasure is. Isn't he cute? Isn't he cute for 12?
He is cute.
He is cute. He's blind, you all. Okay. He's blind, but he has partial sight in that eye. He's totally blind.
He's like, put your hand down. Put your hand down.
Right.
He likes to touch you. Like he likes to literally lay on your chest, like like he likes doing that. But I'm gonna put you down. Now they see who Treasure is. That he barks in the background. Now they'll have a connection with who's barking in the back. Right. But yeah, how would you are you, Maisha in particular, say there I don't know whether you see, because I know you're doing this, you're not on your computer, but I don't know if you see the comments, but what type of energies would you need for someone that say might be online? Could you speak to, or if I pull up someone, would you be able to like
I generally do a little bit more personal readings, so like normally people will contact me so I can actually get access to their energy. I literally would I believe in gaining access to people's energy, and I have to make sure my energy is completely clear.
And you don't want necessarily everything to be public and so forth. But
I don't, because a lot of times it goes a little too deep, and some people, I've had people literally, we've talked about childhood trauma, and it has been out the window, and things that they don't even want to discuss, things that they've never discussed, things that they've never even told their parents. So I never want to go that far.
I want them to contact you. I put your email.
Yeah, they can contact me individually. so that we can, have a one-on-one session. I take my time with it. There was a young woman I had to do this with a couple weeks ago, and she had a lot of childhood issues, and felt like she was receiving messages from her father, but she didn't understand what he was coming in dreams to her. And one of the things I told her, I said, this is a very private moment. So you got to kind of go be by yourself. We're going to talk about things that other people may not be ready to hear, things you may not even be ready to address. And once we were able to do that, we were actually able to bring her father in. And his spirit came, and she literally was like, oh my God, the candle was blowing bubbles. I've never seen this in my life. I'm like, but you need to talk to him because there's a message in that. And she couldn't hear what he was saying, but I was able to interpret what he was saying. And she was able to feel some of the things that I was saying to her because she was able to feel him hold her hand. She was able to feel him, like his breath on her neck and things like that. And it was very important that we had that one-on-one time where no one else was around. And I believe in being that personable because, again, when you dive deep, you dive deep. And honestly, it's a lot out of me when I take on someone else's energy. I have to literally let all my guards down. And then my mother and my grandmother's spirit are standing like with swords in their hand, like, okay, whatever doesn't want to leave her, we're going to have a problem. So... I mean, I literally have had spirits linger in my house, and I have felt the presence, and I'm like, you got to go. You got to go. You are not welcome here anymore. You got to go and go find peace, go find rest. And it's intense, and my children can feel it. And that's another reason I have to make sure that they are covered and protected before I invite anyone in, because they're younger, and my son is more susceptible because he's so young. And my youngest daughter, she's very empathic. She's very clairvoyant. And she's very clairaudient, and she can visually see spirits. She sees my mom walking around the house all the time. So she knows, she can describe her to a T, and she's only met her one time, and she wasn't even a year old. So she can describe her to a T, what she had on when she died and everything. So it's very important that I give people the personalization when I do channel anything for them, even any messages, because everything's not meant for people to hear.
Yes, you're right. You're right about that. But when it comes down to instructions in personal manifestation and stuff, I think I don't know what one of the main takeaways that I'm hearing from both of you is that there's a level of, even with this, that one has to be focused, intentional, and quiet, because everybody is not for you. So that others could actually intercept.
And sometimes people don't even do it intentionally. They could, some people may feel as though they have the better intentions for you than you do for yourself. So you could be trying to manifest a relationship, and someone say, well, I don't think that they should be together. And that's their thought process in the back of their mind. But in your heart of hearts, you feel like this person may be connected to you on a deeper spiritual level. This person may be your twin flame. That doesn't mean you're meant to be together, walk together in their life, but whatever contract it is you have with that person, someone else can prevent that from coming into fruition because of their mental processing. And because their intentions for you are different from what yours are. That's why he said you have to keep it quiet and you have to protect it. That's the best protection you can have. Once you speak it into the universe and you put it out there, that's where it needs to stay at, just between you and spirit.
I say.
Aminaro, do you have something you want to add from I don't know whether you have another book and you want to.
Yeah, actually, you know what? I have so many books around me. I have some organized confusion.
You're gonna have to give me a list, because I love to read.
A booklet.
Yeah, definitely. So I was actually writing a paper on the metaphysics of Black Lives Matter and No Justice, No Peace. And the reason why I bring that up is because the words that they chant is actually not a good divination of what their intention is. Now, I know they mean well when they say Black Lives Matter, No Justice, No Peace, but they don't know the magical, the effects, as you say, they are chanting out to the netters.
Yes.
But when you say that they mean well, you're not talking about the original creators of the BLM movement. You're talking about those of us who get on the bandwagon and go out there marching and praying.
Well, here's the thing. It's not about joining. I'm talking about the words itself. There are metaphysics. So back to manifestation. If I'm walking around saying no justice, no peace, I am manifesting that there
No
will be
justice,
no
no
justice,
peace.
no peace.
I
Right.
I
When
I I just want to say something really quickly, and I hate to cut you off, brother, but it's so crazy you just said that because we talked about just that. We talked about this "I can't breathe" chanting that was going on, and I don't know if people picked up on it or not. But out of the clear blue, with all this chanting going on, they realized that there was a dust storm that came all the way from Africa here, and
yes,
it messed up the air quality. And then all of a
exactly,
sudden, you can't breathe, right? You
they
can't
can't
breathe
breathe.
with air quality. And then all of a sudden, a new wave of corona. You're manifesting this stuff.
You're
You're
manifesting,
manifesting these
and
things.
yeah, and that was manifested by those who wanted to put this kind of construct out there.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
if you want justice and peace, you got to manifest that. We will have justice and peace. We will have justice and peace. That's what you need to chant. Like back in the old colony days, that's what they did. We are the people of this or whatever.
We
Or
shall
get rid of
overcome.
the king.
Yes.
Get rid of the king. Not no. The king needs to be get rid of. No, you have to manifest that. And when you
The
say
king is gone.
right, no, there's a new king. There's a new king
Okay.
right now. The
Okay.
queen has stepped down. There's a new king right now. So
What queen?
yeah.
What queen?
Oh, you didn't hear? The
No.
Queen of England, and the Pope stepped down. There's a new king now. I think it's
Oh,
King Henry.
where was I? Was
This,
I?
this was recently. This is why everybody was all worried about the racial tension and everything and stimulus checks. They were doing all this behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, you know what? If you get into, I know we talked about Phil Valentine's lecture, the paradigm shift.
I
Phil
loved it.
Valentine, for decades, I remember hearing him do lectures in '94 that predicted some things that's going on today. He mentioned a paradigm shift decades ago. He said we are in a cosmic egg and we're about to shift. The universe is about to shift and we're about to enter into this cosmic energy that's going to
Absolutely.
change everything. And now that's what we're doing.
Yep.
So, brother Phil Valentine, that's one of I'm telling you, that's one of the people who helped free my mental. But
Mhm.
yeah, another book I wanted to show you, which shows the origination of the intelligence within the cells and the DNA, because a lot of us don't realize that our brain is not the intelligence. It's the agreement of the atoms and the DNA that come together to form that intelligence. Everything in your body has intelligence. Your pancreas has intelligence. Your heart has intelligence. Your stomach has intelligence. And those intelligence get together, on the same thought to manifest something, and they make one big organism to function as one. So look at it like this. You have, and I'm gonna just keep it simple. You have white people, black people, Chinese, or whatever. Those groups of people are intelligence coming together on the same accord or culture. Then when you get together, then you have a world, humanity. You get what I'm saying? So this book right here, called
Oh,
Biology of Belief.
I have that one.
You have this?
Yes, Dr. Bruce Lipton. I love his
Yes.
work.
He goes through how the intelligence, which is matter is nothing more than intelligence. It's an unmovable intelligence until you quicken it with a vibration. Okay, so
Mhm.
in the Holy Moorish Quran, you got the creation and fall of man, and it talks about the quickening of the holy breath. The quickening of the holy breath adds that vibration to the intelligent matter or thought, because thought and matter is the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So when you quicken that with the holy breath, it raises that in vibration to produce the life or the organism, which is known as man or spirit man, whatever. So everything has a formula to it. And even if you go into the Kabbalah or Sephiroth, it has a
Mm-hmm.
formula to it. Dr. Phil Valentine calls it the word, WORD, which is fire, earth, water, all that. So everything is a chemical process, which also goes back to how you also can manifest. So, but
Yep.
yeah, get that book. It talks about how the inside of you, the outside of you is a replication of the inside of you. Because in that book he shows the proteins acting as gears of a motor,
Yes.
and then when you look at an engine, it looks this exactly the same way. See, everything you see outside of you is a manifestation of the DNA and the genetics within you. Because remember, Phil Valentine said, we are God manifolded upon himself so God can know himself. So when we are formed from the elements into this physical body, the the DNA always have to the atoms always have to self-express, always have to self-express. So when the atoms come together to form our bodies, guess what? It's not done. It has to keep creating. So now we're going to create what's outside of us. Now we're creating AI. So now that creation of AI is going to create another type of thing past it.
Right.
So,
Right.
but that's important to know, because now that you know that the atoms and the DNA inside of you is intelligence trying to move, you can control that in whatever direction you want it to go. That's if you want to get into the biological aspect of it and, connect with the metaphysics. We mentioned
Absolutely.
church. People don't realize that, there's two places you'll find a cross: on top of a building to the dead mind, and on top of the grave to the dead body. And people don't know is that the domes that you see in the church buildings, those are called synapses. Synapses is in your brain that transfer the chemical reaction, so you can have thoughts, and so you can have neurons move the body. Why is it called a synapses? So when you go into that building and you have that dome called a synapses, that's why in the militaries they wear those round hats. That's
Mm-hmm.
why we were, these felines, because that's the crown upon the synapses. That's the mind. See, when you understand these things, you understand how you can manifest and control it within yourself.
Absolutely. Dr. G and
Yes.
brother, I do have to step out. I have a toddler that is restless. I do want to thank you both so much for having me today. I'm available anytime
Listen,
you guys need me.
listen. I am so happy that I finally got you on here. Listen, I'm gonna put you on the spot for a minute.
So,
Come on, give us a little bit about of the deeper and deeper before you go.
the
I just
Do
deeper,
it.
want
deeper I go,
to.
find what it is I should know. It's just a matter of time that you'll reawaken your mind. Oh, come with me, come to know and find out what is true. Then you'll know what's in store just for you. No more living a lie. I can look to the sky and say, I'm reawakening mine.
Nice. Hold on, wait.
Wait a minute. Oh, Daddy,
Yes.
we're gonna
Yes.
we're gonna have you back. We're gonna have you back, Maisha. Thank you so much for
You're welcome.
for
My
coming on the
pleasure.
show, and thank you for writing that song 5 years ago for us. We're gonna and listen, brother. I'm trying to make sure I have his name. Lord Andy Griffin. We putting you on blast. You want to. Maisha sent you the tape, sent you the rock. She's waiting for you to get back to her so you all can come in the studio like you wanted to do. So I'm gonna put you on blast. I'm gonna send him a copy of this so he'll know you asked it to finish this song for us. Thank you so much, dear. I love you.
Welcome. I love you more.
I will post again so people will know how to contact you.
Absolutely.
All right.
All right. Bye-bye.
Peace.
Well, that I'm so glad that I was able to get her to come on the
Yeah.
show and the
Very
perspective.
intelligent sister.
Yeah, because you two bring I knew it would work. I knew because you had a lot of similarities with what you do. And for me, I'm sort of like an observer and I have an interest in everything. It's like I told you.
Right.
Over there is my all my art, all my paint, my 200 paintbrushes, and my 36 canvases.
Oh, you seen my paintbrushes? Oh my goodness.
But the difference between you and I is you paint, I buy the stuff to paint with.
Oh, you buy decor paint items? Okay.
I decor, right? I want to paint. I want to paint. I was hoping that we could see a one of your paintings or something. And I know you have the dark up there, so you told me
Well, I have like I have my portfolio right here. Like some drawings. These are not my oil paintings, but these are my drawings. The first one is a Sambu girl from an African clan. That's a Samburu. All right, that's a pencil drawing that I did. Um, and all my artwork that I give out as commissions come with a certificate of authenticity.
authenticity. Okay.
Yeah, with a wax seal. Just if I die, it's worth something. But anyway, I'm sorry, transition. This one is just a model's picture that I was just practicing on.
Awesome. Awesome.
Um,
So you do.
Breonna Taylor, I knew Breonna Taylor personally, so I did a portrait for the family. Here's a copy of that portrait that I did of
Awesome.
Breonna Taylor.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like I said, because we hear so much about things, and I wasn't necessarily going to bring it up, but a lot of
Mhm.
times, a lot of us are questioning the George Floyd thing, and then I wasn't sure because of the Taylor story came out so late after it happened, and you were
Right.
wondering but when you let me know that you worked with her and you knew her personally, it made
Hmm.
all the difference in the world, at least in that one. And then there's some other things going on that we're not going to talk about. But switching up a little bit just to talk. Yesterday in Louisville, there was like a massive show of, in some cases, idiocracy because of what happened. But I understood I
Yeah.
understood what it was supposed to be. But so a lot of people showed up. They're still protesting over.
Well, you're talking about the militia.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So I've been hearing mixed views on the militia. Okay. People have to understand that this is not the first time that we as melanated people had a militia. The last greatest moment in history that all melanated people came together as a militia is when we were Moors. When different nations of Africans came together, the European called us Moors collectively as a description because Moors is an adjective. We made it into a noun, but it's an adjective, which means pretty much, dark complected people or those African people, black people, however you want to say it. But we, you know, we when we were Moors, we were the greatest military force on the earth. And we were hired assassins. We were the pirates of the seven seas. We traveled to all seven continents way before the European. And when I seen that militia gather, that took me back to the history of the Moors. And people forget that Moors are different nations of Africans, are African phenotype, are melanated people. So when you see the militia, they are people from different places, even
Right.
overseas in Africa. That is the rise of the Moors. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
You don't have to use the term Moor, but we know that is the resurrection of the Moors because the Moors will always rise again. So people say, "Oh no, they shot themselves. One of them did this. Oh, their guns are jammed and this and this and that." But people need to understand. Make no mistake about it. There's always an origin to something, and as time goes on, things get stronger. Not only by the numbers, but by the frequency, the energy. See, we always are novices or amateurs the first time. But as we continue to practice, we perfect that. Not so basically this is just the beginning to something greater because we are entering into a paradigm shift and everybody is starting to become awake and they're starting to fight the construct of politics right now. Okay?
Hmm.
Yeah, you're gonna have the ones that are still lost automatons, as Bobby Hemmett call them, but it's not their time to know yet. Usually we have to go through something traumatic in our life to come into the realization that something's not right about the planet that we're on and the people that are around us. But when I seen that militia, I was like, okay, This is the rise of the Moors. You know, they might not call themselves Moors, but it's still the same energy and the same melanated people. You get what I'm saying? So
Right.
let's just throw vocabulary out. This is another rise of melanated people as it was during the 6th, 7th century on up to 1492.
And you're not saying, when you say different African peoples, you're not negating the fact that the those of us that were originally maybe started on maybe on that side. I'm going to say the river, because Grand Sheik always says that a Hebrew is an Ibri, or they who cross the river.
Ibris. Yeah, the Ibris.
The divide got wider with the Pangea and so forth, and so rivers became oceans and so forth. You're not
Hmm.
saying that but we came over on this in this area, and we were here long before the colonizers came and so-called discovered it. So where we may have come from, what would be considered, or what's being generally told to us, is is Africa or the Middle East. We know that there are those that say that we've been given an upside down view of the world and so
Yes.
forth. East is west and west is east, and up south is north and north is south. And so things aren't exactly like they seem, but we did come here, and we were here for eons before the so-called discovery. And so
Hmm.
for them to, for us to be such a peaceable people, I think, and to allow them to come and say, oh yeah, well, okay, you're running from persecution and tyranny to our shores, and we're going to allow you to, flourish here. And if
Hmm.
somewhere along the line, a conspiracy took place and an overthrow
Right.
took, and then they rewrote history. They didn't rewrite history. They wrote his story, because remember I told you
Yeah.
about his story. So they
The
wrote
twistery.
right. They wrote the twist story to give us the position of servitude and having and bondage, when it was their story. When
Mm.
after they had figured out how to take advantage, I guess, of a peaceable people. Not that we,
Yes.
like you said, not that we were not great warriors, like you said, like the militia reminds you of the warrior stance that we took, and that others would employ Moors to go in and do battle on their behalf. But
Mm.
over here, there were people living in harmony with nature, living in harmony with the cosmology and so forth, and just living in harmony with one another, and didn't see a reason to distrust the motives of some coming, saying they were seeking refuge.
Right. So what we got to understand is, one, there was never a time that man was not. You know, man is about as ancient as the thought itself. So during the transitions throughout the eons, there's always been changes. There've been changes that we forgot about. We no longer acknowledge or even mention. There's been changes in language so many times we don't even acknowledge certain languages. The thing is, the ingredients is still the same. You get what I'm saying? So, you know, whether you call yourself Moors, black, whatever, the ingredients is still the same. So, what makes the term black not such a good word in metaphysics is because of the energy that it holds. Okay, now uh, you can say, you know, black tells you, you know, you is a description, it's an adjective, but who are you as a people? As Todd say, what is your pedigree? What is your cultural? What is your bloodline? If you don't know that, then you can be reconstructed into a people, you know, like Legos. You're being constructed by somebody else's ideology and who they want you to be. Okay, so if you don't reconnect back to from whence you came, you're just a new created product. Okay, now yeah, I'll use the word black, but mentally, I know we were Moors. I know we were, you know, the Egyptians. You get what I'm saying? In America, I know we came from, you know, me personally, the Anayanwaya. I can't even get it out right now, or the Cherokee tribe. Right, but we use black in the context today because black is that term that unifies us. Like the minister Louis Farrakhan, you know, the man's a genius in all his rights, and he's very intelligent. He knows we are Moors, but he knows he has to speak a language of the people. Okay, because see, a messenger comes to the people at the time that the people need them, and the messenger speaks their language. Does that make sense? So Minister Louis Farrakhan, you know, he's a messenger to the people, but he has to speak their language. He just can't go in and reconstruct the minds of people that been living their whole lives. That'll cause cognitive dissonance, sometimes psychosomatic disorder. You know, you just can't change or take away somebody's godhood or who they are abruptly. Okay, in the more science temple, that's why they.
I understand that. I don't mean to cut your wisdom, but I understand that. But I kind of disagree to the extent that the more influence one has, I feel that it should be the more opportunity they should take once they get right or corrected information or knowledge, that they should take the opportunity to begin, even if they're having secret teachings. I don't really, care how you do it, to begin to correct the language of the people, correct what people see themselves as or say they are to each other and even to
Right.
themselves. I said. So
So
I just think that he's had, I have
time.
heard him.
Yeah.
I say we're Moors, but not much. I've heard more.
Right.
Black man, and so.
So yeah, so we are in total 100% agreement. I was just explaining what his methodology is, okay? But I agree with you 100%. If you have the influence of people to tell them the truth, tell them the truth.
That's
You
right.
are Moors. You are indigenous to this land. Okay. You are not Negro, black, colored, or African American. Tell the truth. Okay. But at the same time, the cognitive dissonance is so real. People will actually go through a self-destruct mode once you try to give them the truth. Like when I was given the truth, I wasn't ready for it. Yeah, I had to let that seed grow. But you know, because here's the thing. Here's what we're fighting against. We're fighting against trying to educate and uplift the people, uplift fallen humanity, while social media, dirty Moors, agents, and this and that are counter-reacting our divination, our manifestation of trying to uplift our people. This is why we can't go out into public, in front of everybody and try to give them this. See, I was raised on impersonal meetings, behind closed door meetings, so we can get this information. Now that you got social media and all these outlets, when you project, an idea or something out, it can be counteracted. Like right now, we're on a platform where we can educate people and help uplift their spirituality, right?
Right.
Who's to say someone else won't make another video trying to counter say what we're doing just to try to confuse people? So that's why, like in the Moore Science Temple, they have what's called the Adept Chamber, right? The Adept Chamber is where you go through those initiating steps for higher understanding. Okay, there's a reason why they don't give Adept Chamber lessons online or out to the public. There's a reason for that. You get what I'm saying? So, some things, like I said, when we're dealing with, magic or connecting to the netter, spiritually, we have to keep silent or keep things from being intercepted. Like Noble Drew Ali told us, quit flashing your nationality cards in front of the European. Well, what goes along with that is stop telling your Moorish business to the European because it will confuse them. Because we're dealing in a generation where everybody's been miseducated. Okay? So when you try to go to court or whatever and say, I'm more than that, people are like, what is that? You know, if you are that, be that. You don't have to certify yourself to nobody. Your actions will speak for you. Okay? If you want to be sovereign, live as a sovereign. Say, hey, I'm going to own my own wealth. I'm going to stack up precious metals, whatever. I'm going to get with Dr. G and get in this quicksilver program so I can start stacking wealth. I'm going to start trying to form my own type of businesses and try to help uplift my community or whatever. You get what I'm saying? And once I start off with that and I get enough people in my community to go along with what I'm doing, then we can rise up from that. You know, I got to establish foreign trade. I want to get to know some people in Iraq. I want to get to know some people in Senegal, Ghana, or or any other of those provinces. You know, we got to establish those kind of connections if we want to uprise on this planet. You know, so I'm in total agreement with you that when you have platforms like this and you're talking to people, you have to let them know the truth, because that is the sacrifice of a prophet, a messenger, an angel. That is the sacrifice you have to go through to bring the truth. Of course you're going to be opposition, okay, but you have to let people know the truth and help uplift people. If they rebel against it, let them rebel, but that seed is there, and when they go through a traumatic experience, it's going to wake up.
Yeah, you're right. And so somebody did bring I saw a comment earlier up. I didn't say anything. We were talking, it's back when you were talking about the militia, and I've heard this too before, that they say that this Grandmaster Jay is a ex-military sort of COINTELPRO that has been contracted, so to speak, to start a so-called race, because we're only human race, but a war between melanated people and the Europeans. What do you feel in terms of that? I mean, of his hit.
So
The people following him, for you to answer, are probably legitimately following him, just like you got BLM people who are legitimate.
yes.
But is it safe to possibly question the origins of this man's assignment?
So here's the thing. Everything's metaphysical. I don't care what you call it. Everything is metaphysical. Everything is initiated from a beginning factor. Okay, for every beginning there's an end, and for every end there's a beginning. So what is the metaphysics of why everything is going on right now? Okay, the metaphysics of it is they put out a distraction that has been proven to work against our people for decades. See, when everybody start paying attention, see, everybody was quarantined inside, okay, the house. Everybody lost their job, so people didn't have anything else to do. The stores were closed. So guess what? People start getting into TV and internet, and people start paying attention to what's going on in politics. People start saying, hey, they created this virus? Wait a minute. I ain't get my stimulus. Wait a minute. They want to do the Trace Act and trace me? Wait a minute. They're asking questions.
Mm-hmm.
So in politics, you can't have the people digging and meddling in politics, because the people control politics. So in order to keep the people lost, they have to construct something. Now, here's the thing about why we say this world is an illusion. Then we say it's an illusion, but it's still very real to our senses, okay? So once everybody start paying attention to what politics we're doing, especially with this virus and everything, and what Trump's doing, and Trump was giving people too much information. He was telling them about the hydrochloroquine, where he was telling them that the virus is a hoax, and then they were coming back saying this is a live exercise, and now they're talking about there's a new wave. How are you predicting there's a new wave? So now what they did was they gave the people what been proven to work is, let's start a race war. Let's go out, and I'm gonna just say actually kill somebody, because somebody has to be a martyr. I don't care. They will pick a martyr, okay, because they have to make it real in order to move the people in a direction. So the George Floyd thing, the Arbery thing, all that, people wonder why the news kept projecting that on the TVs and radios and everything, because that's all people had when they were quarantining and when they didn't have anything. They just kept projecting this. What that energy did was it caused a huge race war, okay? Because they know we're sick and tired of this systemic racism in the legal system and in the economic system. They know we're tired, but they know that's a mechanism to confuse us. So let me continue. So when people start rioting, when people start forming militias, they do this out of the belief or out of the reaction, the predicted reaction that they cause. Okay, so everything you see from this I can't breathe and all this, it was intentionally done. But okay, because me personally, I've never seen like in the Rodney King beating, right? Those guys didn't know they were being recorded, right? But with the George Floyd, they knew they were being recorded, and they sat there for a long time. See, I used to work, alongside with law enforcement, on the medical side, whatever. There is no way law enforcement would be there that long holding the subject down, one, without backup, okay? And first backup didn't show up. They were there that long holding them down with no backup. I've dealt with combative patients. I've dealt with psychiatric patients who will fight and who are strong. He was not that. He was not fighting as a CIT or a critical incident, is what we call it. He was not fighting as a CIT. He was there. He was just like, he was handcuffed, and he was like, "Look, get off me. I can't breathe." See, when you have a subject in custody, you know, the next step is to get them detained. Okay, put them in the car or whatever. You call backup. Backup never showed up. You just had these 3, 4 officers for that long a time sitting on this man's body. Okay, that doesn't make sense for the world to see. And you also have crisis actors too. That's been proven. You know,
Mhm.
I've I've worked as a crisis actor and didn't even know it. They call them drills. Okay, so and that's like active shooters. When a gunman goes into a school, whatever, they have scenarios that they play out and they make it look as real as possible.
Mhm.
Essentially, you are playing the role of a crisis actor and you're hiring people to be patients. So when the public sees this, if you don't tell them that this is an exercise, they're gonna think it's real.
Right.
Okay, but we do that to practice just in case there is a real shooter in a school, right? So, but yes, it's very real. So, Grandmaster Jay, very intelligent brother, very intelligent brother. And people might dog his past. Oh, he was a DJ, he was this, or he was that. He was part of Black Lives Matter at one point. Okay, and we all know about Black Lives Matter, who controls it, who funds it, and where the money goes. Okay, you know, I had a couple days to think about this because we had to talk about this at the consulate, whatever. And my thing is, and I just got through talking to my grand sheik about this too. Although people may have a past, people do transcend from their past.
Mhm.
Okay, transfer from the sin or transfer from their previous detriments or whatever. Yes, he might have did some things. He probably with Black Lives Matter. We don't know if he still is. We don't know if he still supports it. Whatever. We don't know. But all we do know is he and his followers are following an energy that was intentionally put out there. That's known to work. And as intelligent as this brother is, he should know that they intentionally caused this racial division to have that type of energy out there. As intelligent as this brother is, he knows, and I'm pretty sure he knows that one, nationality is the order of the day. He knows that, because he's a good campaign person because he campaigned to be president or whatever candidate. Did you know
Oh,
that?
I didn't
Yeah,
know that.
yeah, yeah. He was up for as a candidate for the to become president, but they suppressed his information and prevented him from doing that. Because one, you can't have an intelligent black man in the White House, such as somebody like that. They don't want that.
Melanated
So
man.
melanated, yeah. So my view on Grandmaster Jay is he's an intelligent person. What he's doing is just a reaction to what was caused in the metaphysical. Okay, so in other words, it
Are
goes
we
back to that.
like okay, I'm going back. Are we manifesting this? Is the cry or the tyranny of the people what you said when you talked about the fact that we've been we quarantined and lost jobs and lost
Yes,
businesses and these things?
yes.
Is there a collective cry that has gone out into the universe? Are you saying that is bringing about some of what we're seeing? We're manifesting without realizing that we're because they always talk about the collective consciousness, and they you know about the 100th monkey theory. So we don't know what that point is when you reach that point where now everybody is thinking the same. I don't think we're there yet because we're not all thinking the same. But when the 100th monkey theory means all of a sudden the thought just becomes dispersed to everyone at the same time, whether they were thinking about it at all. But are you saying that there's been a collective cry from quarantine state that is causing the rise of something that used to be, which was the Moors mobilizing and doing a show of force? That is what you're saying this militia is doing as a result of that? Or is that what you're saying?
Yeah, so the militia is comprised of people who genuinely want answers. They want to, they are tired of being oppressed, okay? So no matter what people say Grandmaster Jay's intentions are, there are people, when you get so many people on the same thought of getting tired of the system, then people in that militia are genuinely tired. The thing is, and Dr. Phil Valentine touched on this, is some people are just going by secondhand experience. Some people have not even encountered the police for real. Some people don't know what racism is personally. They only see it. They get in secondhand experience. But that is still powerful enough to feel the emotions of your brothers and sisters who are experiencing that. Because when you look at that, that is projecting an image in your mind, which changes the chemical reaction of your body. So now you are feeling what that person is feeling. You are feeling what George Floyd is feeling. As you watch him. That's why they kept playing it over and over and over in the news. And that's why the officer stood on his body for so long so everybody can get a good picture of it. That was intentionally done. Okay?
Right.
And from last I heard, those officers was acquitted or something like that. Yeah, I heard. Yeah, that's what I heard. And some of them were found shopping in Walmart and stuff. So they trying to get a reaction out of people and keep people distracted because we got bigger things. Believe it or not, we got bigger things about to happen. We got the ID 2020. They're trying to initiate. Decades ago we used to joke and be like, man, they're gonna charge us to breathe air. Now they're charging people, they're fining people $250 if you don't have a mask out in public. It's unconstitutional. You get what I'm saying? You can't inhibit the liberty of people to breathe, Mother Nature's fresh air because the earth needs what we breathe out.
Right.
Okay? So, and I ain't gonna get into that because, and that stifles your immune system also. But everything is happening for a reason. We need to stop giving our attention to what they put in front of us, because your attention is the most valuable thing you have. Okay, what you pay with it determines what kind of change you will get back. Okay, and the change you get back is not the equal value or it's not the correct value of what you paying for your attention. So Grandmaster Jay, like any other militia or protesters, whatever, is just doing and flowing with what's being constructed. Okay, so let it be. Those of us who know better know better. We know that that's an intentional energy being manifested. Yes, to regain liberty is going to take probably an act of some kind of war or a show of power. Okay, so far, everybody who is conscious about what's going on has not shown any military force of power. See, what they're afraid of is the rise of the Moors. And who were the Moors? They were the most powerful military on the earth at that time. So that's what they're afraid of. And not only that, they're afraid of intelligent Moors rising up. See, we keep thinking that, like when Christians say Christ is coming back, you think he's going to come back as Jesus? No, he might come back as Tom, Nathaniel. He might come back as Muhammad. He might come back as Abdullah. You know, I'm just speaking allegorical right now. So when the Moors come back, who's to say they won't come back as Moors mentally, but they coming back? Because you got to remember, this generation is not only the spirits from the past who are fed up, but it's also the spirits from the future who knows what we need to do. That's what this generation is. And when they collide on that collective Christ energy, then that's how we uprise. So everything happens for a reason. Okay. Right now, the only thing that was planned is the virus, in my opinion, and this racial war stuff. That was definitely planned. What was not planned is our reaction to it. See, they thought that they can just get everybody to wear a mask. Well, everybody's like, no, I'm not wearing a mask. They thought they can just get everybody to quarantine. No, no, I ain't doing that. Because the FEMA camps is your home. It's not them taking you to a camp. The FEMA camps is your home. Those actual FEMA camps is where they take the quarantine and people to be tested on. Now, I told people this years ago. Oh, they got the FEMA camps coming. I'm like, your house is the FEMA camp. It's easier to keep you inside than to drag everybody off to a camp. Okay, so things are going to have to be the way they are. Okay, but people have to pay attention to who's leading them. You know, a family member of mine said, "Oh, our leader, this," and I'm like, "Who's your leader? You are your leader. I self law am master. You are your leader. You know, you don't need a leader." So, I mean, but people are just tired of the system, the way America's been treating us. People are just tired. You get what I'm saying? And I can reconcile with that. I can't judge that. You know, forgive them not, for they know not what they do. They're just reacting based off the emotionalism that they were given. So I can't down it anymore. You know, I used to down it. I used to be like, oh yeah, he's a COINTELPRO. Okay, if he is a COINTELPRO, that's what it is. But the people following him are genuine.
Right.
They're
And that's,
genuine, and they're
I
yeah.
get that. Yeah. Yeah. I agree with that. And, but, getting back to our original, even purpose for this broadcast, and ongoing broadcast, we hope, yeah, we hope to get to the place where we're just sharing those ancient practices that have been forgotten or purposely hidden, that we would not be able to honor our ancient mothers and fathers by continuing in their ways. We're hoping to bring you knowledge. We're hoping to bring you comfort about things that you may have been stressing over, because a lot of times people think there's no hope. I mean there's one sister in particular, my sister Sade Renee. I just, my heart goes out to her. She's always on every broadcast. She's on Friday nights, and she's on the Tuesday nights when I do. She's on today, and the sister had her baby taken from her. And so people are in the chat trying to offer her support and so forth. But I think ultimately, and I've seen videos of her working out with the baby with her, and I was thinking, God, I wish I could do that. I don't even have a baby. But I'm just saying, what I'm saying is that getting her strong so that she could stand. I mean, we talked about some stuff with regard to law and how people don't really understand or understand law, and don't approach it from the right standpoint in order to get the necessary response or outcome that they want. I see people saying things to her and so forth. I mean, some of it, what she needs is some good legal advice. And I'm saying she also needs some good spiritual advice. Not that she doesn't have her own sense of spirituality, but when you are overcome by when you're in the throes of a situation, even your best defenses are down, because it's you. We normally can offer all kinds of support and advice when it's not us, but when the rubber meets the road, and I've seen her saying this, for the last several broadcasts, and I'm speaking to you, my sister, because between my co-host and brother, Amenaru and my daughter, sister, Maisha, I want to connect them to you because I think the both of you could help her. One is a spiritual side and one is the legal ramifications, because we talked about law. We didn't really get into it, but you're very astute with that portion. I mean, what kind of law? Because we were talking about the difference, because a lot of people go in and they just want to be ecclesiastical, or they want to do a writ, and it's the language. It's the language.
So if people want to get into law, we can definitely get into law, but that will have to be a whole different platform because there's a lot to go along with that.
Right.
And yes, everything is ecclesiastical, but you can't go in with ecclesiastical arguments, if that makes sense.
Right. Right.
But what type of legal information was she looking for?
Well, she I have her email, but I'll connect you all offline because
Okay.
her baby. She needs to get her daughter back, her child back back in her custody. And
So
I don't know all the particulars, but I'll let her share. She doesn't need to write it. I don't want you to Sade, I don't want you to write it here in this chat. I don't want you to. Matter of fact, I'm being led to tell you to stop writing anything about it in the chat.
yes.
The ones that can help you know, and don't write anything else, because just like was said earlier, there are those who mean you no good.
Right.
There are some that are pouring out their hearts and mean well. All you need is one that doesn't mean you well. So enough has been said. I will connect you to the two people that I think, besides if you may have made some connects, because I see the people saying things, but I will connect you with two people that I know for a fact can help you in some way, even if it's just to strengthen you to be able to stand up for your rights, to get your intended result. But please do not speak on it anymore, because everybody, they say all skin folk ain't kin folk, and everybody that is concerned and wants to know doesn't want to know to help you. They want to know to use it against you, and that's all I'm saying.
Right.
In regard to that. So, but I want you to know we love you. I love you. I feel like you just another one of my daughters. I mean, when I see her name, there, that she's there, and she's in and she's chatting and so forth. But I know it's a desperate situation for her. But she's got to be still. That there's a scripture that says, "Be still and know."
Yes.
And be still and know, and just you're going to get what you need. You're going to get what you need, and So she said, she needs help, and so what I'm going to do, my best, is to connect you with people that I think will have your best interest at heart. Also, I want to, while I have a lot of you who are on this particular broadcast, which is Open Circle Gathering, we will be on every other Sunday. Am I correct? Okay, so we won't be on next Sunday, but we will be on every other Sunday. So from this Sunday, it's going to be 2 Sundays. We'll be back, and so you see me enough on Tuesday nights and so forth. But this week coming, actually tomorrow, I will be having office hours with Dr. G on Monday. My guest would be Phoenix Mikael, and he is from the World Credit Union that is formulating that Moorish or melanated credit union that is formulated, and the title of the broadcast is Black Wall Street 2020 and Beyond. And I was like, black, but remember, he's what, just we had to qualify it. Black in the sense that there was a thing called Black Wall Street, but here we are in 2020. What did those people do then to create the wealth and autonomy that they had then, that we need to be doing from this period on? And not necessarily black the color, but being in the black as a people rather than in the red. And we're talking financially. So you and I, for instance, I appreciate, the fact that you are one of the ones that has taken advantage of the quicksilver and the wealth attaining wealth through, gold and silver. And right now we know gold is kind of out of the question for most of us. You know, you could have like 75 silver coins and one gold coin, and they're the same, you know, equivalent value. But there are things that we already have. Even the silver, my understanding is that this credit union will be able to take bonds that we create for our silver and gold and to deposit them, and then to get a credit value that can be utilized. And so it's a lot of information that's going to be shared tomorrow. And the interesting part about that, my brother that's coming, I met him in right outside of Atlanta in 2015. We were both involved with High Frequency Radio Network with Brother Yusuf L back then. And he is a former Jehovah's Witness minister. So I just had an encounter with a Jehovah's Witness about a month ago in front of the Dollar Tree, and it was so frustrating that
How many pamphlets they give you? They give you a pamphlet?
He didn't give me nothing. He just wouldn't let me get out of my vehicle because he needed to about, you know, where I was going. And I'm questioning him about the 144,000. I'm like, I said, there's more of y'all already than died. It's 144, 145, 4,000. And where you going to go? And then he wanted to tell me where I was going to go and all this stuff.
Right.
I asked the brother, look, listen, what is it that you hope to achieve by keeping me inside my car listening to that? Because if you think you're going to convert me, it's not happening. And so he finally walked away. But this brother is a former Jehovah's Witness minister who has a background as a commercial insurance underwriter. And he's an entrepreneur and so forth. But he totally woke up. He started hearing the truth, and he realized, because I said, "You're not a closet Jehovah's Witness more, are you?" Because I wanted to make sure.
Closet Jehovah's Witness more.
You know, I just want to, but he told me no. He totally woke up, and and so that was the thing that I, you know, it's good to know that when people are waking up and they realize that things are allegorical and so forth, and he understood, you know, understands who he is. And so he's been working very diligent in the background over the past 5 years or so since I met him, and now where they are now. Tomorrow night, remember that, you all. I haven't posted. I'll be posting it probably in the next hour or so. We will not have a Tuesday night office hours with Dr. G, but we will have Monday, tomorrow. So mark your calendar for tomorrow at 8 p.m. I'm just going to say this because you know how you have to say stuff to. Well, then again, maybe I shouldn't. We just talking about talking too much. Never mind. Look, I just changed my mind on that one. But
share it. Share it.
Okay, I'm gonna just say it. Be on the lookout for merchandise that is part of the, you know, the Dr. G brand, and we just want you to be reminded of where or who is trying their best to have your best interest at heart. So we have some things that I believe I have some things that are going to come down the pike very shortly, and hopefully it'll be inspirational and it'll be I don't say educational as much as it'll get you to a place of positive affirmation with regard to yourself and those that you're involved with. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited about my co-host, and he's full of knowledge, you all. And you just saw a little bit of his art. He's an awesome, talented commissioned artist, medical and holistic profession, as well as he's, you know, astute in law and metaphysics. So what more can I ask for? You know what I mean? And we were both DJs. So
that's right.
DJ and I was a club DJ. So he's a Virgo?
Yep.
And I'm a Pisces. And so those that's why we click.
Right.
I'm an elder and he's a younger person. You know, we got the yin and yang going. He's the male, I'm the female. We just got a total yin and yang going here. And that's why but you know, a great connection. And I know it happened by way of, you know, the universe and for such a time as this. So thank you so much, you know, for tuning in. We went like 13 minutes over, but there's never an over. No, it doesn't matter. We can go 4 hours. I won't tell you that because we thought that was going to happen. Because it's like we talked about this. We said it was going to be like giving two preachers a mic, like a preacher.
Right.
Flex DJs a mic, and everybody's going like, I need my 15 minutes a day. But we just needed to say some things. Please share the fact that we are here every other Sunday. That office hours with Dr. G is every Tuesday, except not this week. It's going to be tomorrow night. And I also want to make a correction that I announced on Friday night when Sister Tamara Ellen and I were on. And I said, oh, and Grand Chic will be here Friday. And I didn't realize that we have 5 Fridays in the month of July. So Grand Chic Tasha Bay is not scheduled to be on Friday. Howsoever, I know it's not howsoever, but however, I am working on getting a very, very, very special broadcast. Somebody that I've asked one person, and then I have another person that I reached out to a couple weeks ago and didn't check my email, and they responded to me like on the 12th of July, and I need to get back to them today because maybe I can get them to come on, and their name has come up quite a bit for being on the show. So there will be a show. It will not be Grand Chic, but you will not be disappointed. The only way there'll be no show is if I can't get a guest to come on, because I am not going to come on myself and talk for 3 hours. I refuse.
Yes.
I won't do that, but I wouldn't put you through that. But I'm working very hard in light of the fact that this is 5th Friday and I didn't realize it coming up to get someone in that you will enjoy and get a lot out of. So thank you to my co-host. Thank you to my daughter Maisha in her absence, and thank you to each and every one of you for tuning in today. This has been our brand new offering, and we're excited about it. Tell somebody about it. It's Open Circle Gathering, where we're delving into life's mysteries to achieve life mastery. And we're going to get into some stuff as the weeks come on. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Dr. G. Really? Who's she?
Yeah, that's me.
Dr. G. Really? Who's she?
Yeah, that's me.
Dr. G. Really? Who's she?
Yeah, that's me.